Everyone can generate an AI video now. Almost nobody can make an AI film. Same character, same scene, same light, same world. And every single frame of it was generated with AI. So here's the thing. The difference between a pile of AI clips that look alike and an actual film that holds together isn't the model. It's not the prompting either. It's about 7 concepts that AI filmmakers don't talk about. By the end of this video, you'll know all 7 and can put them to good use to create your own AI film.
Every joint in town ran on tubes, inference, and small favors. The machines, they poured the drinks, sang the songs, took the fall. Nobody watched what they said in front of the help.
The neon lights are bright, but they don't shine for me.
But that was the night the help started listening. Sunnyvale got 2 in his own booth. And on their way out, the Belmonts blew up the green room to hide their tracks. And the only witness in the room wasn't legally a person.
Just another.
And in the process, you'll watch how the film you just saw was created. And the order here is the point. You gotta follow these in order because every decision affects what comes next. And going backwards can be really frustrating. One truth before anything else, and it's the thesis of this entire video. The AI is not the storyteller. You are the storyteller. The AI is your crew. It's the camera department, the set builder, the costume designer. It does the implementation so you can focus on creative thinking. And if you skip the thinking, you're going to get a lot of pretty noise that may look impressive on the outside, but has no coherence with a greater thing. Everything you're about to see was made in one place, in Venice. The story, the images, every shot, even the edit you can do on Venice. And because it's Venice, none of the story or my creative process was stored for a model to train on, which means your unreleased film can stay unreleased. And that matters more than people think. Until you hear the next generation of a frontier model telling you everything it knows about the story you thought was yours. Concept 1, the story Bible. And I already know what you're thinking, you probably want to skip this. The generation is the fun part. This is like homework. But here's what happens without it. Every decision downstream becomes guesswork. What does the club look like? Guess. How does the robot move? Guess. What is the layout of the objects in that scene? Guess. 400 guesses later, nothing matches and you can't figure out why. So start out by opening up a chat and dumping everything in your head. Ours went like this. A 1958 that never was. A Chrome Torch singer named Evie. She witnesses a mob hit mid-song and her memory is a brass spool that anyone can steal. Messy is fine. The point is to get it out of your head. Then take it to the next level and go back and forth with the AI. Back and forth, back and forth. You steer while AI explores ideas and concepts and potential story paths for you. Never accept a one-shot story, and if you're gonna accept it, at least read it first. Once the story's right, save it as a markdown. Markdown is a format that AIs love. It's clean, it's friendly, it's easy to ingest. This file just became your single source of truth for the production, and every step that happens next. Now the homework part. Read it. All of it. Make sure every detail makes sense and that you understand the world and story that this AI just helps you create. You need to understand this story deep enough to imagine seeing it on the screen. The AI can't do that part for you. You have to have the vision. Even if you don't have it at the beginning, eventually the vision comes. Because if you don't understand your story, the AI never will. Concept 2, one visual language, committed to completely. The single best decision I made for this film was almost embarrassingly simple. One rule written into the story Bible. 2 accent colors only. Canary yellow and neon pink. Everything else stays brass, cream, and shadow. Now watch what that one constraint does. The neon sign, yellow. Her spotlight, yellow. The bar where the bad guy does business, magenta. Subconsciously, your eye always knows whose scene you're in, and every shot looks like it belongs to the same film. You'll also notice a certain fuzzy darkness to the main character. That was a half-intentional mistake that we're going to cover later in this video, so you don't have to make it as well. So just a few simple sentences in a text file will do more for the consistency and coherence of your film than any model you choose could. Now here's the fun part. Come up with your visual aesthetic and then ask the AI to come up with alternatives. It could come up with a concept you really like. Finally, pick one. Say it explicitly. Commit. Every frame you generate from this moment on filters through that choice. Concept 3. If you take away just one thing from this video, remember this one. Your reference images for your AI video generations are the most important thing you can do. Not the prompts, not the models, references. Context. Just like any other AI, video models need good context. And with modern models like Seedance or Happy Horse, you can not only give it images for context, you can give it video files for context, you can give it audio for context. Give good context to your models and it will generate good output. If your references are wrong, no amount of prompting will save you. God have mercy on your soul. But get them right, and everything downstream gets easier. This is Evie's master sheet and the prompt used. Full body, studio conditions, every detail named. The panel seams, the tube eyes, the boa. This image is about to appear in every single generation she's in, and it shows in the final output. Now, which image model should you use to generate your reference photos? Better question, which model for this particular film? So don't marry the first model that gives you an image you like. Run the same prompt against 5 or 6 image gen models and pick with your eyes. Which one do you like? Don't judge it based on which company or which country made it. See here, the same words created 5 very different versions of this robot. Some nailed the chrome, some lost the deco lines, one gave her a weird face I never asked for. Model selection isn't a spec sheet decision, it's a taste decision. Make it just once, lock it in, and move on. There are 3 habits that separate a proper pack of references from a messy folder with loosely related images. 1. Your master sheet first. Lock the character in from one definitive image, then derive the angles and details from it. 2. Location plates get generated empty. No people, no text. That image is the scene that the model will populate with your characters and their actions. The location plate is the stage, the characters arrive later. And that's how you reuse it in 20 shots. Bonus, create multiple shots of that same location so the model knows what it looks like if 2 characters are talking back and forth. 3. One style keyframe. A single frame that you use for every single generation. This becomes your color grade. Rain on glass, neon colors, the contrast, the tint. This shot anchors every generation that follows. And here's the payoff. The reference and the finished film side by side. Same face, opposite ends of the production, weeks apart. That's the reference pack working. One more rule, and I learned this the hard way so you don't have to. Never ever use a low resolution screenshot as a reference image. I was lazy and I did it a couple times. Instead of exporting a proper still, I just grabbed a screenshot and watch what it does. The colors darken, the quality lowers, the contrast turns crunchy and distracting, and it doesn't wash out. Every generation built on that input inherits the damage. So references get the best image you can make, never a screenshot. Concept 4, the story becomes a screenplay. The screenplay becomes the shots. Standard filmmaking so far. But now look at what makes this an AI production. Every shot declares which references it needs. Shot 4 needs the character sheet and the location plate. Shot 12 needs the spool prop. Those dependencies are the difference between a wish list and a document that a machine can actually execute. And here's where AI filmmaking quietly breaks from traditional film school. The AI doesn't generate coverage one shot at a time. It generates multi-shot windows, depending on the model, up to 10, 15, 30 seconds at a time, with 5 to 10 edited shots in that generation, all in one pass. So once you have your shot list from your screenplay, you want to rewrite it, optimized for a machine to generate it. For example, we turned 22 shots here. Each batch can carry its own shots, its own functions, its own characters in the right locations. You make sure each batch has every single reference it would need. If your shot requires a complex prompt, don't overcomplicate it. The longer your prompt is and the more action you want, the more complicated it's going to get for the model. Even if it's only 80% of the way there, there's a chance you might not be able to use any of it, especially if it's a native multi-shot generation, and it ends up being a waste. Ask me how I know. So that brings us to your first real decision as an AI film director. Do you want to generate your film in 10, 15, 30 second incremental chunks? Or do you want to go one shot at a time? A 3-second shot here, a 5-second shot here, 10 seconds here, only one angle per shot? Or do you want to give the model the space to generate multiple angles with the reference images and try to tell a whole story in a scene like you see on social media? Because that is not easy to do, but it's very possible. So this is where you decide if you want to generate one shot at a time or native multi-shot generations that you'll stick together. Either way, you need to have a stellar pack of references. Now I know what you might be thinking, what about storyboards? In traditional filmmaking, you need a storyboard to know where you're going next. The problem with AI filmmaking is that sometimes the storyboard reference confuses the model and will actually take that storyboard a little too seriously. So I recommend trying it out. Maybe you get results you like, but I recommend not assuming film school wisdom transfers over to AI filmmaking. Concept 5, generating. 3 paths. Path 1, stay in the chat. The same conversation that built your story can generate the shots. In fact, it already has the context about everything because you've been brainstorming the whole movie with it. So there's zero context shift. The catch is you can only do so many generations at a time. It's going to be harder to organize when you need to fine tune and polish certain generations. So instead of generating every single one, you can opt for path 2 instead, which is to use the Venice Studio. This is the precision path for the shots that carry your film. Test multiple models from the same prompt. Manual reference control, exact aspect ratio, duration. Now look at the anatomy of a real shot prompt. 4 parts. The references, who and where. The camera, 1 motion. The subject, what happens and how little. And the motion budget, how much motion happens in the whole generation. You direct it. This much here, none there. The contrast is the drama. And that leads us to path 3, running the Venice video harness through the API. This is literally how I start my AI films now. I feed it my story and it maps the references to the scenes of the film. I review that before spending a cent. The agent estimates the cost and I accept. Then I leave, and when I come back, I have a full rough draft of the entire film already stitched together. So assuming your story was good to begin with, this gives you a starting point now for refining, polishing, perfecting, and finalizing your film. So chat for experiments, studio for the shots that matter, the harness for full draft to help kickstart your momentum. This is the workflow I personally use. Obviously, you can just use one for the whole process if you want and find what works for you. Concept 6. If your reference assets are the first half of AI filmmaking, editing is most of the other half. All of these shots actually happened while I was producing the film. Some of the shots look pretty cool until you realize they don't fit at all, for one reason or another. AI filmmaking is a retry economy. Budget for takes, emotionally and financially. For example, we asked for our reference robot and got a completely different woman. The reference somehow didn't make it. Exhibit 2. Here's another one. That's not her face at all. In this one, we're missing an entire character. They're supposed to be a villain they're running from. And finally, what happens when you use a low-resolution screenshot for one of your references? Everything that happens after is going to be affected. Told you we'd come back to that. So when I have a broken shot, here's the workflow. I'll either screenshot or export the problem frame from the timeline. This can be risky, but more convenient than getting a full resolution freeze frame sometimes. But it's okay because we're not trying to use this screenshot as a reference. We're attaching all the references for the characters, the location, but then we attach the screenshot just to give the context to the model saying this is the positioning of these references. So start the shot with the position of image reference 1, 2, 3 in the same position as we see in image 4. Be very specific in your prompt, repeat yourself several times, and I've had good success this way, getting the right positioning and placement of characters in a shot. When you are refining the film in the editing room, regenerate the shots that need fixing, not the entire generations, because sometimes a 15-second generation might have 5 shots in it and only 1 shot has mistakes. Just try to generate that 4 seconds there that needs fixing. You'll save a lot of money that way. Don't assume that one long generation has to stay one long generation. The editing room can get messy. But before you regenerate anything, follow the triage rule. Does the shot work cinematically, flaws and all? Sometimes weird generations can offer us unexpected opportunities on screen. So if it works in some way, keep it or cut around it. But if the core of the shot is wrong character, missing element, broken geography, then regenerate. Perfectionism is how budgets die. This technique can help you ship your film without destroying your budget. Concept 7. Audio. Treat voice as a character. Every dialogue prompt specifies the accent, the tone, the delivery, and uses the exact screenplay line word for word. But if you give the model just approximate dialogue, it fills the gap with whatever voice it wants, and that's how your detective ends up with 3 accents in one scene. Another solution is to attach an audio file as a reference for each character's voice and tagging those references appropriately in your prompt. Along with a robust description of the voice, this will help you ensure continuity in your character's voices. You'll also notice a problem that in the end of one video generation, the audio cuts off in a way that is not the same in the next video generation. When you put these together, there's a very obvious cut in continuity from the audio. So to fix this, you generate ambiance and Foley files, even music, and layer that into the background. This helps smooth the transition between generations and makes for a better watch. There's no audible distractions for the viewer now. Exploring L cuts and dialogue off screen can also help you cut visual imperfections and even fix the vocal continuity of any character. Nothing is going to be perfect, so forget the imperfections and focus on carrying the viewer past those flaws. If you can do that with a good story and with imaginative visuals, then you've accomplished the main point of being a filmmaker, immersing the viewer into a world. So knowing when to stop is the final skill here. Because with AI, we obviously have infinite potential for new shots, more story beats, etc., etc. Accept imperfection and know when to stop. So there it is, 7 concepts to carry with you into your AI filmmaking endeavors. Now let's watch the whole film and see if you can catch any of the techniques that I mentioned in this video.
Meridian City, 1958. The future showed up 15 years early. The first thing I learned to do was look the other way. Every joint in town ran on tubes, inference, and small favors. The machines, they poured the drinks, sang the songs, took the fall. Nobody watched what they said in front of the help.
The neon lights are bright, but they don't shine for me.
But that was the night the help started listening. Sunnyvale got 2 in his own booth. And on their way out, the Belmonts blew up the green room to hide their tracks. And the only witness in the room wasn't legally a person.
Just another lonely heart, and in the machinery the flying cars sweep past the bar.
She found me the way trouble always finds me, through the door marked machine claims. I told her no. I want that on the record. I told her no. But then she opened up her chest and showed me the truth on a brass spool. Then I remembered why they took my badge. A machine's memory is property. Copy it and it fades, like a song you only half remember. Kessler made us 2 spools, one true, one blank. She paid for it with a piece of what she saw. Sometimes it's hard for a lonely man to remember she's just a machine. My ex-wife would never believe me. Maybe that's why she's my ex. And that's when it hit me like a 5th of bourbon on a Friday night. The spool didn't just name the shooter. It named the men I owed money to. Graves offered me the cleanest deal I'd ever heard. My whole ledger gone for one spool of wire. All I had to do was hand over the only honest witness in Meridian City.
The coffee's cold, the ash is gray.
Some checks you write knowing they'll bounce.
Thought you'd stay.
But it wouldn't matter anyway. Her testimony was worthless in any court in the country.
Persephone, Flugal, Uranus own when I brew.
So the Belmonts got away with it again. Turns out the only honest heart in this town was one somebody built. And it was playing my tune every morning at dawn. Some songs are like that.
So to sum it up, the Story Bible is your one source of truth for the project. One aesthetic locked in. References are half the game. Optimize your shot list for a machine, not a production schedule. Explore your 3 paths of generating AI video. Make your surgical fixes shot by shot, not generation by generation. And direct your sound like a performance. Use it to create coherence across generations. And remember, working on your story with Venice, use a private model. It stays yours the whole way. No model will be trained on your story or your creative process. No one will even know it was you that created it. See below for additional resources for getting started. Even if you want a practice project, there are prompts below. You can head to venice.ai right now to get started building your world Bible. All it takes is a couple minutes. And remember, you are the storyteller. AI does the work. Happy creating.